An international non-governmental organization, ActionAid Nigeria has launched a strategic 10-year plan to spur citizens' actions towards addressing poverty in the country. The Country Director of the organization, Mamedu, made this known at the official launch of the new country's strategy paper titled Citizens' Actions to End Poverty and Injustice 2024 to 2030 in Abuja. Mamedu says the hope is that this plan will spur a collective approach among Nigerians towards ending the scourge of hunger and poverty in the nation.
We have learned that poverty is multifaceted and cannot be compartmentalized. You cannot say this is what poverty is, just this area, and requires a more nuanced approach and engagement. In this current strategy, we are deepening our engagement in focusing on responding to multidimensional poverty. So when you hear about multidimensional poverty in Nigeria, what comes to mind? What comes to mind is 133 million. 133 million Nigerians living in multidimensional poverty. As a learning organization, we strongly believe that the current Nigerian context would require us to innovate through a social movement mindset in acting to address multidimensional poverty that we face as a country. As we may know, nearly 12% of the global population, so when we talk about poverty, it's not just Nigeria. So globally, over 12% of the global population living in extreme poverty. And this is in a situation where you have 3% of the wealthless keeping more than 70% of the world resources. Not only lack financial resources, but also lack access to essential services such as education, healthcare, clean water, housing. If you are not one of the 133 million, I'm sure most of us here today would not be part of the 133 million. However, if you're not part of this 133 million, it is likely that your family members, extended or nuclear, are, and if we are part of it, and I'm sure we get calls every day, text messages, WhatsApp every day, genuine concern, genuine requests from people that are living in poverty. And future generations may face the same plight if we do not act now. Hope and belief is not a strategy, like my board chair would always tell me. We do not hope, just hope alone and believe. But we put hope and belief, which is accompanied by action, correct planning, action, and discipline. The discipline. This is the essence of our new strategy.
It's something that is important to reflect upon. Poverty, inequality, and citizens' action is an economic issue, is an anthropological issue, is a political issue, it's a faith issue. It's a totality I believe in, and therefore no one knowledge is better than the other. But when we are united, we can all do better together. And even for that reason, I commend the conception of the team. For us, in the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, and in particular for me as Minister, when I assumed office, we decided to elevate engagement so that we will hear more from those who have different experiences to enrich our policy framework.
The face of poverty and injustice is the face of a woman. When you talk of poverty, you see the face of a woman and her children. When you talk of injustice, from being excluded from decision making, from the processes and from the benefits, it is always the face of the woman. Gender-based violence, women's names, the statistics is higher. Illiteracy, women. Not being in government, women. Poverty, women. No money, women. Injustice, women. So we are totally in support of what is happening here.
In 2004,
The poverty rate in Nigeria was 54.7%, representing about 74.8 million people. Today, the poverty rate is projected to be 40.7%, representing 93.3 million people. So, in spite of all our best efforts, poverty is increasing. The country is facing huge political, economic, and social challenges. Scholars have identified the challenges to include, among other things, poor leadership, bad followership, poor strategy for development, lack of credible and effective state and bureaucracy, lack of focus on sectors that will improve the condition of living of citizens, such as education, health, agriculture, and the building of infrastructure, corruption, undeveloped, irresponsible, and parasitic private sector, weak civil society, emasculated labor and student movement, and poor execution of policies and programs. Despite the best effort of progressive forces in Nigeria, poverty and injustice remain a huge challenge. This is why there is the need to revisit the path to poverty eradication and social justice.